Welcome to the Fusion Mastery course. In this lesson, we'll go over how to start a sketch. After completing this lesson, you'll be able to start a new sketch on a plane, start a new sketch on a face. When using Fusion 360 as a sketch-based parametric modeling system, there are several different ways that we can start a new sketch. Let's explore some of the ways that we can use to create a new sketch inside of Fusion 360. Note that we're working on an untitled document and our units are currently set to millimeters. Inside of the model workspace, on the sketch area of our toolbar, we have this icon here that shows a sketch, a pencil, and a plus icon. If we use the dropdown, we can see that this is Create Sketch. Let's go ahead and left click on this, and notice that we get a preview of the planes and axes associated with our file. Also note that the view cube in the top right hand side can help us understand which plane we're looking at. We want to select the top plane to start a new sketch, and to stop the sketch, we can either select Stop Sketch at the bottom of our sketch palette, or we can select Stop Sketch in our toolbar. We now have a single sketch in the timeline at the bottom. We also now have a Sketches folder that contains Sketch 1. Let's look at some of the other ways that we can start a sketch. We're going to expand the origin folder. We can turn on the light bulb icon if we wish to see all of them. But in this case, what we want to do is we want to select the XY plane. We're going to right click and select Create Sketch. So this process allows us to select the plane we want to use first. This could also be a planar face on a part or any created plane that you have. By right clicking and selecting Create Sketch, we then jump into a sketch on that plane or face. Let's go ahead and stop sketch. We currently have all of our origins and planes visible. We can hide the origin and the axes if we want to only show the planes associated with the origin. Or we can turn them on and turn the entire folder off all at once. Now in this case, what we'd like to do is we'd like to select the top plane on the screen by right-clicking on it and selecting Create Sketch. This is a third way that we can start a new sketch by selecting the plane in the canvas area first, right-clicking, and then creating a sketch. Let's go ahead and select Stop Sketch, and note that we now have 3 sketches in the timeline at the bottom, as well as 3 sketches in the sketch folder. They're all visible, but none of them contain any sketch entities. So in this case, they're all going to be empty. Sketching is available in multiple workspaces. If we navigate to the Patch workspace, you'll notice that we have the same sketch tools and the process is identical to creating new sketches. We can select a plane, right-click, create a sketch. We can select a plane in the browser to create a sketch. Or we can say Create Sketch first and then select the plane we want to use. Back in the Model workspace, if we select Create Form, we'll enter the Sculpt environment. Inside of here, we also have a sketch dropdown with most of the sketch tools that we see in the Model and the Patch workspace. We have Create Sketch, which works the same way. We can create sketch and select a plane, or we can pre-select a plane and then create our sketch. Any of these options are valid and they just depend on whatever workflow you want to use. If we select a plane and create a new sketch, we also have our right-click menu, which allows us to do various things like stop sketch from here, and of course access any sketch menus that we need. Notice that when we look at the sketch menu all the way at the bottom, we also have stop sketch here. But these options are usually more tedious to get to when you can simply select stop sketch here or on the bottom of your sketch palette. Let's navigate back to the Model workspace and mention one more thing. Under the Create dropdown, I'm going to quickly make a box primitive, which allows me to select a plane and then create a sketch on that plane and automatically creates a box primitive for me. Now the reason this is important is because this has planar faces. Anytime you have a planar face, you can use that as a sketch plane. So we'll select the face, right-click, and select Create Sketch. It still displays our sketching grid system. We have the sketch palette open on the right-hand side, and all of our sketch tools work the same in this environment. The only difference is, instead of selecting a plane to start our sketch, we're creating a sketch on a face of a solid or surface body. As long as it's a planar face, it'll be valid to create a sketch on.